It's the witching hour, and that means it's time for another episode of Agatha All Along. If you haven't watched it yet, don't go any further because we're going to spoil the hell out of this thing. This is the next episode. It's called If I Can't Reach You, Let My Song Teach You. It's a really fun episode. Yes, there's more singing involved. So hopefully you're ready to talk about it because I know that we are for certain. And of course, as always, I brought my good witchy advisor with me, Mrs. Know-It-All. All that and more starts right now.
It was Agatha all along. But wait, there's more to this wicked song. Mr. Know-It-All's here to break it down with magic, mischief, and a spellbinding frown. So grab your broom, it's time for a spooky song as Mr. Know-It-All reviews Agatha All Along.
What's up, my know-it-alls? Okay, so this is another episode.
Yes. It was
clearly they were feeling the music a little bit.
They had a Fleetwood Mac vibe going on.
They had a lot of different
Stevie
things.
Nicks thing going
Exactly,
on.
a little era. But so first thing out the gate, short version, they go to bury Mrs. Hart. They end up needing a new one. They summon a new green witch, and who is it? It's Rio.
Heard you guys were having a party.
So
What'd I say?
Aubrey pauses Rio.
What'd I say?
And she is something else. And also, so there's a lot of things, and we're going to get into all the stuff about her. Of course, they encounter their second
Yes, their second trial.
along the road.
Yes.
Clearly, the house and everything is directed toward the character of Alice Wu, who is, she's the fire witch. And this is all centered around her life, obviously. The minute they walk into the house, it's the Bee Gees meets anything you think of back in the day.
Anything in that era.
Don't drink anything. Don't eat anything. Don't touch anything.
Feels like there's a story there.
Yeah, and they're not, but they don't start singing immediately out the gate.
No.
So there's a little bit of because obviously Agatha's trying to stay away from Rio, and doesn't want anything to do with her. She's kind of upset that even happened. And at one point on the road, they even have a quick conversation, and she says to her, she's like, "Look, all legit. I was gonna stay away. Apparently, your summoning worked a little too well. I was the nearest."
Magic, as it does, took the path of least resistance, ferried the closest, most appropriate candidate down.
I was
One
the
that-
nearest one.
Yeah, that
I'm
fit
willing.
the mark. Yeah, totally. Legit. So she's on the road now. We don't know her whole story yet. What did you think of what do you think of the whole where do you think of where he started?
Oh, I think I like that we went into another trial right away.
Sure.
I do like that.
They're not wasting time.
And I did like. What was interesting was we got as time went on in the episode, it was realized it was all just a curse for her and her mother.
Yeah.
And I was like, that makes a lot more sense because of that. Because of the
It's like we talked about last week. The houses seem geared toward, or the places, whatever that they create, the road, it shows itself and manifests as something having to do with each individual. However, the group has to deal with the repercussions of that. You know, so in this one, clearly it's got to do with Alice facing that family curse, but it's not just that. It's also now everybody has to deal with what that looks like.
right.
So it's I thought it was pretty interesting.
Learning a little bit more about each other as they go on. Because there's like this, and I think there's that stand by me moment, but the stand by me moment of witches.
Yeah, totally.
When but Agatha, oh hi bud, but Agatha wasn't there.
Right. At one point they break off, and there's that conversation between Rio and Agatha in the sound booth.
Yes.
And Rio, it sounds like she's trying to, I don't want to say she's trying to lure or trick Agatha into revealing something. So Agatha hits the principal's button on the microphone. You know what I'm talking about? The kind of this button.
Testing.
And so she can hear, so they can hear what she says.
What happens next?
I get the pleasure of watching you do what you do best, which is kill all the witches around you.
And then she tries to play it off like, I would never do that. That's my coven. And then you're like, whatever. But I thought but it was clever. It was super clever, and I got it. And later on, there's that moment where what's her face says to her, Lila says to her,
Don't think for a second I've forgotten what you said in the sound booth.
Oh yeah. They all heard it, and that's going to be interesting.
oh, for sure. So in the whole thing, Teen gets... I was going to say damaged.
He gets damaged.
Teen gets hurt.
Yes.
So he gets picked up by presumably the curse because it's something invisible and invisible force. And he gets hurled through a glass window area. And damn it, if Agatha wasn't the fastest one to his side.
I know, man. She like flew over there.
I'm like...
I mean, no.
That's hilarious. No, but I'm just sitting here like, really?
Yeah.
Really, Agatha? Like, you're kind of... Okay. I thought you didn't care so much, but clearly no,
she does.
And we get the idea. They keep dropping hints that the situation with her son, how clearly she had to do something, whether it was sacrifice him, give him up, whatever it was, and she's real sad about whatever had to happen. And so she's somehow, I mean, it's not hard to say, okay, she's kind of imprinting, this is a young person on the road with me. And technically, he's my responsibility. It mirrors what may or may not have happened, or at least what they're implying has happened.
Right.
But what did you think of that tension? About that whole situation, the whole like she's got to be worried about him. He's she's trying to maintain being herself.
But at the same time, she's suddenly become this motherly, motherly instinct,
right.
kicked in.
No, and I agree. I thought that was an interesting. I liked it. I liked it. Added. I hate to be that critic. It added pathos. Like, you know what I mean? It made the moment, because so a lot of these shows. It's funny, and I kind of want to take a minute and we can talk about this and how much you think. So last week, I was making the comparison that the Penguin and Agatha were both very similar, not in what kind of show they are, but in that they're dramas. There's not a lot of high action. There's not guns flying. Hell, there's not even spells flying. They're just dealing with, obviously there's some supernatural stuff, but they're having to like reason it out.
Right.
They can't punch their way through it. They're having to think, and sometimes that means exploring internally. And once you're through that, like there's a lot of thought going on. Same thing's happening over in Penguin. There's a lot of introspection and a lot of, it's not all bang 'em up, shoot 'em up. But both are fascinating in their own way.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So this still feels like it's heavily borrowing from drama or dramedies from television of old, which obviously technically everything does. But what do you think of the idea that the more they're telling us this unique story, the more they seem to be lining up with I hate to say tropes of TV, but these are, because remember, you've watched this kind of TV more than I have in terms of what I believe this is becoming. This dramedy-esque, almost like in the beginning it was very procedural. Now it's becoming very this Thursday night dramedy on ABC. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Again, I was going with the Desperate Housewives analogy, but I mean something along those lines. What do you think?
I don't know. I feel it's just very unique. I mean, there's
For sure.
it's just a unique because maybe I find it to be so unique because it comes from the comics.
Sure.
And that's not something I'm
right.
You know what I mean? So,
sure. Yeah. I find it interesting only because I feel like the more people want Marvel to be Marvel and MCU to be MCU, the less they're ready for when it takes strides like this. So for instance, Captain America Civil War was a very different movie than Captain America Winter Soldier. Now, Winter Soldier was very much this cerebral spy action thing.
Yeah.
Okay? Lived on its own, it was that. Other things had a hard time finding their own voice until WandaVision. So WandaVision started out with a very unique premise. Then about episode 3 or 4, they sort of decided, okay, we're going to kind of pull the curtain back and you'll just sort of deal with the repercussions of it. But it still was setting up some really interesting stakes. This show's doing something very different. There are people who keep wanting to compare WandaVision and Agatha, and I don't see them as being comparable. I feel like, this is an extension. But I feel like Agatha is doing a very unique show all its own.
like Loki was.
Yes, that's a great...
Like Loki was,
yes. Yeah. The way Loki stood on its own. Very familiar things. Because you said because it's Loki, it's whatever, and you're seeing... So very familiar pieces, but at its core, it's doing I like this. I feel like Loki, I feel like this, I feel like WandaVision all have a tone of their own that really works. Yeah. And I feel like so I think similarly when we get shows like Daredevil and those things, they're going to feel like that dark, gritty corner of the MCU. Everybody's owning
we know, yeah.
Right. Everybody's owning a corner, and I'm really liking Agatha's version of what that looks like, especially because we're seeing the character grow and explore some things. One of the really interesting things about the show that I'm really enjoying is the fact that at every stage, I seem to be wanting to find more details out. So one of the things that really captivated you and got you super, were like because you've been really big on this who is or isn't teen.
Right. Yeah.
I thought it's interesting. They've made Agatha an unreliable narrator in that teen asks her flat out.
Did you put the sigil on me?
No. Actually, I wouldn't know. A sigil works on the witch who cast it as well. That's why we don't use them as much. They're super irritating.
His way of asking without asking, are you my mom? And
Really? You think that's what it was?
Well, because they've already established why would you, it's a protection, it's a form of protection. Who would protect a young person other than someone who feels responsible for them or something along those lines? So I'm like, okay, it's a new dimension to the spell than they had originally.
That makes sense to me now. Okay, yeah,
right,
sure.
It's a different dimension that they hadn't put forth.
Yeah.
But then you said something interesting. Who do you still think? Because I know who I'm maintaining still that I believe we're going to find out. Either, I feel like the fact that he's Wanda's son may almost itself be a red herring. But at the same time, I don't know, man. What do you think?
I still think it's Agatha's son.
But then, okay, so let's shift over because now we have to talk about Rio. I saw last week, they showed it when Lilia was having her vision. Mm-hmm. We see an image of of what they call Lady Death or Mistress Death in the MCU. At least she looks like the one that is in the comics that Thanos is in love with. It's a skull face, female form, hoodie. I say hoodie. Cloak and hood. She wasn't sitting there.
It was a hoodie.
Yeah, there's a little difference between.
Like Baby Know-It-All wears.
It's a big difference between, the like proper version and then the hoodie version. But no, you know what I'm trying to tread. So there's a spoiler going around, and if you want to look it up on yourself, you can, who people think Aubrey Plaza is. You go there, look it up. I myself, I've never thought she was real. I thought she was more Morgan Le Fay, but there's also been other people who've speculated that she is Death, Lady Death, or the form of Death. I don't necessarily know if that's true or not, but then she has this line. So there, it's post the situation, and they're sitting on the road, and they're sort of just talking. What?
Mm-hmm. No, keep going.
Okay. And
so I'm thinking.
Okay, and as they're talking, each of them talks about their scars. And so then Aubrey Plaza speaks up just after Agatha gets back from dealing with Teen, who wakes up, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I have a scar," and Agatha's like,
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
she goes, "Oh yeah,"
It's very much like as she's messing with her.
Yeah, legit.
No, you don't.
So then, and you find out they imply there's a lot of inference happening, and I don't know how reliable these narrators are. The implication is she goes,
A long time ago, I loved someone, and I had to do something that I did not want to do, even though it was my job, and it hurt them. She is my scar.
and I'm like, it's the doing my job part, because I'm like, whoa, time out. What is your job? And I can see the MCU making the tangential connection. Death, put your body in the ground. That would make her a form of earth witch or whatever. But I feel like calling her a witch is way simplifying it. So there's something, I think maybe if she's not death, she's some form of an avatar of death.
I guess that would make sense that it would be Lady Death then. Because even though at the end of the episode, and we'll talk about that in a second, but when she says it's not him,
right?
When Rio says it's not him, if we're assuming Agatha's the scar because Rio loved her, and she wasn't going to then, I don't know, kill her son because she loved Agatha so much, so why wouldn't it be the son? I'm still sticking with it's Agatha's.
Fair enough. Okay, no, that's great. No,
what
for
do you
real.
think?
No, I think both of our ideas are plausible. Comment below. I'm just saying. Let us know your thought. Do you think who do you think, quote unquote, teen is? Is he Billy? Is he Agatha's son? Is there a connection there? Do you have a completely different idea?
I say, are we way off base here?
We've already confirmed hands down he is going to eventually be the character of Wiccan, but it's which interpretation they're using of Wiccan, because there are two interpretations. One is actually Billy, and one is Billy from another dimension. It's very confusing. I explained it last week. And so it could go either way, but I feel like that's sort of the flip-floppiness of the Marvel universe. Now, a lot of us might be gun-shy because during WandaVision, we thought that the one character who ended up being Ralph Boner the neighbor. We thought he was Quicksilver. We thought he
Yeah.
was Wanda's brother, even if he's Wanda's brother from another universe or whatever else.
So they do bring in that universe.
Right. So I'm saying, but we thought that was him, and it ended up being some other guy. So it could very well be that while I may think it's Billy, they may do something different with him, and that's totally fine. So I'm trying my best not to get my hopes crazy sky high up.
I just like the mystery of it all right now. Maybe that's why maybe that's another reason why I'm really enjoying this is
Sure.
because I am guessing all over the place.
It's
Now,
fun.
you did kind of say you didn't like the way the episode ended, in a way.
So it wasn't the usual dead cold abrupt ending, but it felt abrupt. Everything was resolved the way it should have been, but I even having an extra moment of Rhea walking away and Agatha watching her walk away, anything, it felt like the minute she said blah 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 blah, period. It just felt slightly on the abrupt side for me. But I don't know. Again, that's just a preference thing. I don't think it's like the other. I've complained like Acolyte and other shows where they just like chose to cut at a random moment.
Yeah, I didn't. You don't think it's that?
I don't think so.
I don't think it was like that at all because it still kept me guessing. Like, well, then again, who is it?
Right, which you said, which I guess is the ultimate point of those moments. It's like a cliffhanger. You said, so right on.
Appropriately done.
Yeah. No, for sure. There you go. Now you know. And if knowing's half the battle, you're halfway to being a know-it-all yourself. What are the know-it-all indices for Agatha All Along, the most recent episode? What is your opinion? I gave mine first last week. What's your...
I'm gonna give it an 8.
Down, down, down the road, down the witch's road.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it an 8.
Okay.
Not, and I've been doing 8.5 for the most part, 8.5. I guess I would have liked to see more of the scary guy.
Really?
The curse, yeah, because they come so close to making it like, oh my gosh, that like, you know.
Okay, I agree. So it's funny when it comes to him. I think I think we had just enough. Here's why.
Okay.
I feel like and again, this is me seeing with old school industry eyes. I don't know that effect was holding up too long.
Fair.
Guy painted.
Okay, that's fair.
And because even when he was on fire,
it kind of reminded me of Supernatural or Buffy or something.
Right.
So, okay,
yes.
so it wasn't okay.
No,
so
for sure.
I guess I'm just looking for instead of it being like I could have done more with that particular thing, but they do run you right up to being a little nervous and scared.
Sure.
I just give me a little more.
I feel you. Commit to it. I get you. Mm-hmm. Well, because so for me, it was that moment when she invokes the flames and he's standing on the thing and his wings are flapping. The wings look very material-like almost like parachute material or that squirrel suit, flying suit material. And so I was like, guys, really? And then luckily they had him evaporate in a very bad effect. Because it literally looked like.
What's funny
1980s.
is I noticed it, but I didn't want to believe it. Did you know how I did that? Even though I wanted more scary.
No,
I noticed it, didn't want to believe it, but then when you had to go and say something.
No, I feel you. Again, I'm enjoying the show.
Oh, yeah.
So my score for the show is, I think I'm going to line up with you and say it's holding steady at an 8.
As we go down, down, down the road, down the witch's road.
So yeah, I mean, I don't see a problem with that. I think the 8 is a solid score. What do you think? Comment below. Tell us your score. Give me your ideas or thoughts about what it is that you think is going on in the show. We've been name dropped Mephisto. I know when Jen was looking at that wall of devil heads or masks, devil masks.
The eyeballs.
There's all the eyeballs in the one, but all I could think of was, is one of these supposed to represent Mephisto? Because Mephisto's a red face and the whole 9 yards.
It's so funny, by the way, because like he'll be like whispering something, Mephisto, blah blah blah. And I'm going, see, I told you it's Wanda, or see, it has something to do with Wanda, or it told you it's Agatha's son. The entire. I'm surprised we even make it through the episode without.
I think it's
pausing
I think it's a perfect example of the fact that we both are watching for different things.
I know.
In a wonderful way, way. So. But yeah, are you guys having fun watching the show? I know I am. I know that there are people out there who want to criticize. I have seen nothing yet egregious about the show.
It's fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun. So, all right, guys. Well, we'll talk again soon. I cannot wait to see the next episode. Don't miss it. And of course, we're going to watch Penguin on Sunday now. So, and I will of course be on Nerd Fights on Saturday talking about Agatha and going more in depth there with Salty. So, if there's anything else that we were missing?
I got nothing.
All right, guys. Never forget.
Everyone loves a know-it-all.
Bye.
Bye.